play with ChatGPT's image generation since they updated it apparently this week?
I have not. Does it now look like images and not ChatGPT?
Well, yeah, at least the ones I've made so far. I haven't tried anything, but
Does it
like
compare to Gemini?
I'm not sure. I used to try to generate like let's say a Disney gargoyles inspired gargoyle blah blah blah, and it would always just produce images of gargoyles. Now it actually does what I want it to do. The images don't look like they're computer generated like as much as they did. So I don't know. You'd have to try it. I guess you'd have to compare it to other prompts, but yeah, I don't know. It's a lot better than it was. So like it takes longer though. I'm
Mm.
guessing because they're putting more reasoning into it. But you got your book all done then? You're cruising.
Scope creep. I declared that I was done with the drafts from chapters 1 to, well, chapters 1 through 4, but technically Odie had the second chapter, and he tapped out. That's no,
Officially now?
that's no surprise. He,
Yeah.
he he didn't respond to my message from last week, and nor is he trying to reach out. And he has yet to complete a chapter or even show me what he has. So it's no surprise. Anytime I ask him to work on anything, um, he never delivers. He always finds something else that's nice and shiny. Can you tell my frustration?
You sound like my
It's
you sound like
annoying.
my
It's
wife.
like it's annoying. Like if you say you're going to do something, commit to it. And consistency is probably the. I'm curious what your belief system is. I think consistency trumps talent, and I can understand arguments contrary, but consistency over the long term trumps almost every other trait that's beneficial for somebody. And it's like if you spend if you have a consistent pattern of starting something and not finishing, like where do you really expect to be in life? Especially as time goes on, things get more serious with the remaining time that we have. Like, if you sense my frustration, I am kind of disappointed, man.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I think you're right. I think I'm guilty of that, but I'm not trying to drag someone else into something either, or
Well,
promise to work on something with you or anyone.
the
So
difference is you say, "No, I'm not going to do it."
yeah,
He has a habit of saying, "Yeah, that's a good idea." I'm like, "Are you sure?" Because you have a lot going on already. You tend to have commitments or obligations, and you tend to have a habit of starting something but then not seeing it through to the end. Oh no, no, this I see the value in this. This is important. And then 4 weeks later, he drops off.
yeah, yeah. So so I guess it's just yours then now, solo author.
That's what it looks like. And scope creep is setting in.
Make a meta chapter about your own scope creep project.
Well, yeah, I think I'm going to add. I think I have to. There's a piece of why characters just don't get annoyed and just quit like I usually do on projects. Um, and I got to add context for why they're enduring all this torment, and yet they're not leaving to greener pastures. So I have this. Now I'm curious if you have something similar. I have a to do file on my repo,
Mm-hmm.
and as I'm proofreading the content or a particular like chapter, I'm throwing to dos or notes into my to do list file,
Mm.
and it's I see it just growing and growing.
Yeah. Was that a tip in one of the videos you sent? I feel like it was.
Yeah,
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. No, I haven't started that yet because I haven't gotten anything like good down on paper yet. Where I feel good about proceeding with it. Um, but I'm sure I'll do something like that. Although I'll probably just end up trying to edit it as I go and not do very well on it. But I think that's probably my main problem is I need to sit down and just trust that the AI will fill in the gaps for me.
it won't.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it won't.
yeah.
What so what I'm finding is there's just gaps um, between the chapters where it's not really providing context on why people have the demeanor or why characters have the demeanor that they have.
Hmm.
Um, for example, why are these people uh, on suicide watch more or less over this project when they could just quit and move on to something else? I mean, if someone was reading this book 5 years ago, it's a hot market. You'll get like a 10%, 15% pay increase by just job hopping. Like what's the issue? So that's some of the pieces that I'm missing is it assumes that the reader knows what's going on right now or knows the context of the IT industry.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So if you read it 5 years ago, you'd be like, yeah, these guys are kind of stupid for putting up with this kind of a thing.
Yeah, more or less.
But I don't know, people still would though. I think it depends on a lot of factors. Money might be a huge factor though. The golden handcuffs things, maybe they pay really
Yeah.
well, but the work sucks. Or, who knows? They might be not in a place in life to make the move, or they actually believe in the company. The management just sucks, or there's a lot of types of motivation someone could have for not leaving.
And the other part that I have in my to do is to ingrain very early for each character as they get introduced their their belief system that can be disputed, and then show them evolving with their belief changing based on questions that are posed to them, experiences that they're starting to go through, and then the whole character arc,
Hmm.
them fighting maybe an identity crisis of their own, and then them swinging to the other side. That I haven't really. That's something that I have to add to almost all the characters. Because right now the internal struggle is, oh, woe is me. I have a family to feed, or woe is me. I'm close to retirement. I just have like another 18 or 24 months, and if I fail at this project, like everything that I fantasize about the sailboat on the open waters, I'm just going to be a Walmart greeter, right? Like I have to weave in a belief system about, is firefighting just the nature of the business when it comes to working at software companies, or is it just the nature of the experience that he's had because he doesn't know any better, right?
Hmm.
So, anyways,
Yeah, but then you should have like conflicting views in there, like somebody who thinks it is and somebody who thinks it doesn't, or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you have the dialogue that argues the entire concept. So you have to get like a dialectical analysis of the topic, I suppose. Oh man.
It takes time to freaking review or read a chapter that you have to edit.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, because this one's like the first firefighting is it's two parts to the chapter, right? And the first part is like 80 pages. Now, how does this work? The first part is like 60 pages. The other part is like 80 pages. It's literally two chapters, but they're the quote unquote same chapter, right? They're just partitioned. And it's like, hell's bells, man. Like I spent like maybe an hour and a quarter trying to get through the first half of the chapter and make edits, and I'm still not done yet. I'm only halfway through, man. And I know I have to go through probably 3 more rounds of the same thing for the same chapter. Why do I torture myself? I know, because I need some passive income, and if writing products or building products outside of work isn't working, then maybe I should try something else. Right?
Yeah, well, this is a product. It's just a different kind of product. But I think it's, yeah, that's exactly right. What do they say? Like people who have that kind of entrepreneurial spin or do this kind of stuff. It's like you live life for a few years like nobody wants to live, so you can live the life for a few years that everyone wants to live. Something like that. So it's like if you keep at it and are consistent and focus on quality and whatever, like there's a real chance that you could come out of this with that goal achieved. It's just it takes it to the long threshold. My problem is like I want to get some sort of feedback cycle going because I'm really terrible about falling off of things if I don't get a feedback thing. Yeah, I like making small things and then incrementing, but something that has a long runway is difficult. So,
well, how much content do you have to create, and how polished does it need to be so that someone can legitimately take what you have with their own time that you're not paying them, or do you plan on paying them
for who?
for your book?
Why would I pay someone? What?
Because it's their time. You're asking them to review something so that
Oh,
you
you're talking about like beta readers or whatever.
yeah.
No, I'd probably just have my wife do it. Maybe some friends or something, but
You don't think they have bias?
they probably do. But the thing is I would just need to know that it's not total trash, I think.
You got your magic system set up?
Gosh, which one? No. The first one and maybe I'll return to this idea because I'm still juggling around what ideas because I need to actually build out the story. I'm having a hard time coming up with like a good thing other than just a premise of a story, like the actual climax and growth and what you're trying to do within it. But the first magic system was based on like this idea of like a quantum entanglement a little bit. Like you see an object and people who had magic abilities would see like a nexus run node or like a some sort of like core thing that would then have these threads come out, and then they could take another object, let's say it's a really small object, and essentially weave the threads together, creating this tether. And then once that happened, depending on the way that they envision or think about the actual connection or imagine the connection, you could move the rock this way and have that rock go, or you could have lift the rock up and then invert it and then that comes crashing down, or like you take the object and you break it in half. And so, if you had like a piece of bread that you tethered to a giant boulder, you could split the boulder in half by splitting the bread, that kind of thing.
So what's the consequence of employing that magic?
That I never quite got to. Well, it is a like a mentally draining thing because the idea is that the nature of the tether of the two items would be very much dependent on the concentration of the person. So I think in the first scene, one of the scenes, I also had it like culturally controlled. So there's only a group of people who could do this tethering, and the rest, even if you had the ability, were outlawed from doing it. And so they never like the first scene. One of the first scenes, I have him breaking the law to get himself out of a bind, to remove a giant, you know, timber that fell on him or whatever. Um, and then there's like this decay that's supposed to be on it so that you could see the threads have this kind of decay, and so if you know what you're looking for, you could actually see the magic if you yourself are a magic user. I don't know. I recreated this world too that I had, which was like this big, kind of like North America sized continent, but there was this big split in the middle of it where a giant war happened, and this god just was like, screw this, and just made this giant void, which is just literally all the particles in this like static soup of that were in that range. So they mixed, oxygen and helium, and all the elements just became this giant cloud void. And if you touched it, like it would have these violent reactions and stuff. And so I was trying to set up something where like half the civilization, they focused on building themselves up and creating beauty, and the other one actually used the magic with the wall, with this like void wall, to just kind of give them whatever the hell they want, because they found that they could just manipulate it in a way. So it's supposed to be kind of this like analogy about people who build versus people who take, or something like that.
How much time do you dedicate per week?
Well, I did. I did put at least an hour of work and or thought into this every day this last week. But
Oh, cool. Sounds like you're consistent.
yeah. I mean, a thought for sure. I mean, I don't know that yesterday I sat down and tried to have it generate things for me, but no, I shouldn't say that. I did interact with it and ask it. I'm like deeply in this exploration phase of I need to feel like I have a meaningful ending to a start and a premise. I'm like really struggling with the climax of the idea of a climax for a story. I just don't know how you design it and then work back and create all these threads that need to kind of come together in the end. But I suppose you take each thread and you walk it, and then you intertwine it, twine it with other thread. I don't know.
Some viewpoints that I observed was your climax is when their original belief system, they finally see the light, and then they take action or something to that effect.
Yeah, I had one where it was basically kind of like like you have all these trials and things where you're building up and you never quite get there, and then you have your lowest moment immediately before the climax, like something just terrible happens and your entire world's shattered, and then you have this like aha moment, like at the peak of the climax, like it all comes together, like you realize something that, this gal put it as like you're between a rock and a she said a hard place, and what you need to give the readers is the banana. And it's like, what? It's like, well, you're in this rock and a hard place, and you think you have these two options, and that's all that's there, and you think they're doomed. But you need to have the hero come up with some third option, the banana, that nobody expects, but in retrospect makes a lot of sense. Like if you just put together all the threads over the story, you realize that it's totally believable that
like the movie Independence Day, where they uploaded a virus using a MacBook.
I don't think that was the climax. Well, as part of the climax, I suppose that was one of the threads. The climax when the guy was like going up into the thing with the wasn't that when he went up in the anus of the thing and blew up or whatever?
Up yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess the station also blew up too. So I guess that is true. But I think it's the station blowing up.
You mean a mothership?
Yeah, the mothership blowing up. That was more of the climactic moment, but Up Yours was a pretty good one. But yeah, but how they came together to defeat it, yeah, the virus being the thing. I don't think that was a particularly witty like solution to the problem, but the rest of the premise was so good that it was like I think you could overlook it. Like, we'll give them a virus. I knew it. Huh? You know how to talk to alien. I suppose the guy was a communications expert or something, but understand, that whatever code they're using on the ship and think that they could infiltrate it easily. Like they never had security concerns.
Yeah, I started. I wrote like the first couple paragraphs I changed it from Meeting Mania to Royal Rumble meetings, and the consequence of that was almost started binge watching Royal Rumbles on YouTube. That stuff is like entertaining, man.
It's been a long time since I watched wrestling.
Yeah, because every like 90 seconds or 2 minutes, a new character enters the ring, or a new character makes their entrance, their theme music, while the other people are beating each other up. And I try to draw parallels to, every like half an hour to hour, if there's a new meeting that someone gets pulled into, whether they anticipated it or not, and then they have to either observe and study dialogue between other characters, or they have to actually go back and forth with their arch nemesis in a meeting. Meanwhile, the whole intent for the project itself is to actually deliver something, but because of all the context switching, they're just being consumed of all their attention and energy, just like in the ring. The earlier they are or involved in that ring or involved in the project, the more of a detriment or toll that it takes on them. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Does it? Because I tried to force it. Meeting Mania wasn't really making sense when I looked up the definition of WrestleMania. It's just an event with,
Oh, I didn't even,
wrestlers.
when you said Meeting Mania originally, I didn't even think of it as a wrestling reference at all. Like I was thinking more of like a Manic Monday or like, I don't know why, like
no,
Mania is just Mania,
It was based off of WrestleMania. And so I kind of like the metaphor. Where is it at? Royal Rumble meetings. The passage is every 90 seconds. A seismic tremor pulsed through the stadium, a drumbeat of anticipation that reverberated through every rib cage. Every 90 seconds, the digital clock ticked down, a stark reminder of the impending chaos. Then a hush, a momentary vacuum of sound, followed by the stark echoing countdown. 10, 9, 8, the air crackled, thick with anticipation as the first notes of a familiar theme ripped through the silence, a sonic boom that signaled the arrival of another warrior. Beneath the blinding glare of 1,000 spotlights, the Royal Rumble stage loomed, a steel monolith against the darkness. This was not merely a match, it was a gladiatorial contest, a brutal symphony of survival, a convergence of 30 souls vying for destiny. For weeks, grudges festered, alliances shattered, and the dreams teetered on the edge of oblivion. Tonight, the unforgiving canvas of the rumble would forge legends and shatter hearts. And then there's two more paragraphs that go deeper. Um, I like it though. And then I'll try to have the analogy right here.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
Not quite woken up yet.
I'm ready for another vacation, man.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be going back to Africa in 2.5 months.
Why?
Why do you think, Sean? Why do you think I would travel to the same city?
Oh,
Yeah,
I gotcha. That's interesting.
it is. And that could be expensive too.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm like, travel all the way to London. No, travel from Miami all the way to London just to fly south all the way to Ghana. Or can I just go to the DR, which is like a 2-hour flight?
DR wasn't bad.
Yeah, I know.
It was okay. We didn't get to see a whole lot of it.
Oh, yeah, you talking about your cruise?
Yeah. Like we went into Puerto Plata for a little bit.
Oh,
But they brought us like to the tourist traps and then had us like walk through stuff really fast and
oh.
the town square or whatever, and then the pink street and the umbrella street, I guess, in Puerto Plata. Kind of the three things. And then like he did bring us up to a view and he's like, oh, there's where the kids play baseball, and oh, right across the street here's the prison. It's like that's kind of funny. They wouldn't put a prison next to a baseball field, I don't think. And
Have you ever visited somebody in prison?
mm,
Neither have I.
nope. I know very few people that have gone to prison in earnest.
One of my best friends went. I mean, I know a couple of people. I know several people that's been in prison, but I had a best friend. He did like, I think he did 12 years.
Oh.
But,
There was a guy who I worked with at Walmart, and he just didn't show up to work one day, and then like I don't know if it was like a month later, 2 months later, we found out that he like, and this and I can't remember if this was the reason why he wasn't at work anymore, but he like had stabbed a girl and then like went and found a gun and shot her, and so he got he was murdered. I'm assuming he's locked away forever now.
yeah, I wonder what she did to upset him.
I don't know. He seemed like he must have been out of his gourd on drugs or something. I think somebody went and talked to him, but from work. But I mean, he seemed like a normal kind of okay kid when I worked with him. Like I wouldn't have expected him to suddenly just go off and kill this gal. So, but you never know. I guess the people around you.
Yeah, maybe.
But I never visited him.
Is your ice fishing over?
Yeah.
Oh no! What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I got to get my fish house and to get my hydraulics.
You have to go further north.
Camping. Well, no, I mean as far as we can go north fishing, I think it's done now. Like they might have some people that still go out on maybe like foot or something like that, but I'm pretty sure it's over.
You could go to Greenland and ice fish. That'll be a state pretty soon.
Well, we'll see.
Do you think Trump will ever use force?
No. It's just to keep people guessing. There's
Guessing or distracted.
Nah, he wouldn't. The thing is the American people wouldn't stand for it. It would doom. It would doom us. Like, there would be no way, unless it could be done in a way where it was like a show of force, but it wasn't actually force. If we started shooting Danish people, I think we would
No, not
Like
war.
nobody would.
I don't think Danish people are going to like bear arms.
Yeah, but you mean just declare it and be like, it's next? Sorry.
Yeah, just like China declares Taiwan theirs. I mean, it would incentivize China to go ahead and go through with it.
Yeah. Well,
It will
maybe
give
they should.
it will give permission for a lot of countries to go ahead and annex other bodies.
Yeah. Well, maybe it should. Then we don't have to spend so much money trying to protect it.
We
But it has to happen
protect what?
after
We don't protect
Taiwan.
Greenland.
Yeah, Taiwan we
No, I
do
thought you
though.
said Greenland.
No, Taiwan. Maybe it just does become part of China. I don't know why I should care.
Because silicone chip or
Yeah, well, that's the thing I do care
that's analogous to oil and gold.
as far as them needing to bring manufacturing back here. But that's true of not only that chips, but also pharmaceuticals, and there's a whole bunch of shit that strategically is made for overseas that we can't make here, which makes us reliant on other people. So, but I don't know. Maybe I'll make a book about that. In a world
Tom
where
Clancy.
somebody's no longer the world's police,
You know,
country becomes one again.
you just reminded me of something.
What?
My favorite trailer of all time.
In a world.
Let me see. My favorite trailer of all time, Sean.
Happy Jack. Oh,
Hold up. Where's it at?
no, it's not. It wasn't Happy Jack, was it?
This is from Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, but wasn't it some Simple Jack? That's what it was.
Okay.
You make me happy.
Hold up. Where is it at?
Trailer. Yeah. You never go full. Yeah, because they had like 3 or 4 different trailers at the start for each character, right?
Your boy's different. His IQ's 5. I just told you spent time playing with this stupid boy, can't read.
Video quality is horrible.
I ain't got a good brain.
Oh.
I think you've got a fine brain, Jack.
You
Happy.
I wonder how much did he get canceled for that?
No, I mean that was the whole point of this, was to make fun of.
Or was that before cancel culture? I think it was before.
I think it was before, but still, like I don't know nowadays. Like, could you get away with like Robert Downey Jr. doing the blackface thing? Like, that was the whole point of it, was people like appropriating other roles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could have given this to a legit, black man, but you gave it to this other actor,
Australian.
Yeah, which happens. It used to be called.
He's an American that played an Australian, a white Australian that assumed the role of an African American.
Yeah, he's a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Yeah, no, but the yeah, technically he was a dude playing a dude. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I don't know if you could get away with that anymore, but it was certainly funny. But that was at the time, I think, when when people like the liberal side would get mad about whitewashing. It was like, oh, you're making a movie about Egypt and you have white dudes. playing the role, or I think there was one called like, was it the like it was
Tarzan,
they
The
redid
Last
Moses maybe.
Samurai.
Was it they redid Moses with Christian Bale or something like that?
Oh,
And then there was like the Gods of Egypt or something was like all white dudes playing. And so like that was the time when, they were looking for the whole thing was you're replacing taking these roles that could go to legitimate people of color or whatever, and then, giving it to white dudes, and it was bad. And the idea should be everything should be authentic. And then it flipped the script. Like, I don't know when this happened, but there all of a sudden it's like representation is way more important. So now when you have things that are very European, you need to have a black lead. Like,
wasn't it like something in Harry Potter where they were trying to do that?
no, it's all sorts of stuff where they try to do that. Or where they did Snow White, they just did it. Like, she's
Puerto Rican or something.
She's not skin as white as snow, which is true to the source material. Where they did it with Little Mermaid, which she was very much I believe it was more of like a Danish tale or something like that. And they did it with which is Macbeth or something. Didn't they have Denzel Washington play Macbeth? And then the worst of all, Rings of Power. Like, you're telling me that a European fantasy is gonna, and then with no explanation whatsoever, you've got this black dwarf lady. Like, it totally broke the entire idea of the immersion for me, because it's not just a problem with the fact that it's a European fantasy. The problem is that there's just no explanation for it whatsoever. Like, oh, you've got mostly white dwarves, but here's this one black dwarf lady. Like, huh?
I remember, I think it was like in the second Matrix. I think one of the actresses had died, and so they retrofitted another one. And it just, I don't know if you remember what I was talking about. She was the one that would visually look and inspect Keanu Reeves and look at his hands and make a decision on if he was the chosen one or not.
Oh, yeah. The Oracle.
The Oracle. And the second one, she's just a completely different black lady.
Yeah, like, oh, I take on different forms all the time.
Oh, no, she was saying that someone changed her physical features, or I gotta look that up.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Matrix 2.
But it was all
Matrix got
black
out of
lady, wasn't it?
Matrix got out of hand. It was just it
got
got too
weird.
Hollywoody.
Yeah, it got weird. The latest one was very weird.
Just want to reload it.
Yeah. Like, it just wasn't the same. But yeah, like, I think we've had this conversation before. I think in all media, what everyone should be looking for is just authenticity. So if you're going to bring back something old, just make it authentic to the original. Like, if you're going to make something new, be authentic to what it's like, the people, and realize that everyone's got this identity, and you don't just kind of soup everyone together. Like, if you're going to make a movie about Africa, you should make a movie with Africans in it. Like, and if you're going to make a movie with Europeans, of European history, or a timepiece where there was, limited or no people of color, just do it. If you're going to make a European fantasy, don't intermingle random races into it. It's just weird.
This can't be right. Hold up.
Wake up.
This can't be right.
No, that's all
AI.
Not AI. It's probably supercuts of other movies.
Every day feels the same.
It doesn't look real.
It's not.
Wake up. Work. Sleep. A cycle that repeats endlessly. Faces blur, time fades, and the world moves around me like a machine. Cold.
You could tell because of the KH studio. It might be an AI actually.
Something is
It
wrong.
does look like AI. It doesn't look like. It looks more. There's like an animated
Something I can't name.
touch through the video.
Yeah, it's definitely AI. Will Smith looks messed up.
I've been looking for you, Leo. I don't know if you'll believe what I want to show you, but unfortunately, you and I have run out of time. They're coming for you, Leo, and I don't know what they're going to do.
Leo.
Let me see what the comments say. They're probably butchering it. It's scary to think how many people thought this is real and not deep faked. The future is going to be interesting. Yeah, so
Oh, did you ever watch that movie Nobody? I'm seeing in the side there. I thought that was a pretty good film. The bus scene was kind of interesting.
people legitimately believe that this is a real trailer.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are very not very smart. Or it could be that they were drunk at the time. Who knows? Reacher.
Yeah, people believe this is real.
Yeah, actually, you know what the more pressing part about trying to get some passive income going is I honestly don't think our profession is going to last for another 5 years.
Tech
Yeah,
or the software developer.
I think AI and not necessarily LLMs by themselves, but the infrastructure we build around AI to work with LLMs is going to get so good. Like we're going to start writing code that's optimized for AI to work with. Like it's not going to be like it is today where we're writing code for humans using AI. It'd be like, no, let's structure. We're going to build all of our tooling and all of our structure. And, the thing is I'm finding though, is like definitely vertical slice architecture is way more friendly to AI. Like if you can build out, because if you can well define a vertical slice of a feature or whatever, like you can feed it that entire context and make changes so much faster than if you just have this wide kind of API or whatever where you don't clearly define slices and that. It's just, it seems, and you have inconsistent patterns and all that kind of stuff. You also, I think, see that mono repos will skyrocket because you need to have all the full stack context there for an AI to actually do full stack work.
So can people really build applications off of a single prompt? Like for example, if I wanted to build the game Pong, would it work? Would it create an entire Visual Studio solution?
Cursor can do that. Yeah, I don't know how well it will get at Pong. Pong's a pretty simple game, so it might do it pretty well. Probably depends a lot on which model it chooses to work with. But if you go into Cursor right now and say, make me a Visual Studio solution and then make me this project and then write Pong in it, it'll do that, at least most of it.
Mm.
You might have to do additional prompts to refine it and then clean it up, but it'll do it. So like I had a thing yesterday at work where I used Cursor and I was doing a full stack change. And as part of the process, there's this generated file that needs to move from the front end to the back end, or the back end to the front end. So it's a TypeScript file. And it's like I explained to it where the TypeScript file was going to be generated to and where it was going to be, where it needed to go out. But I didn't really give it much more information than that, other than that I need to make it happen that these get in sync in this next step. So I wrote a script. I wrote a bash script, threw it in there, and then ran the bash script using npm run. That would just copy the file whenever I would need to, based on the relative pathing of the two projects. So Now I've got this asset where I can just go in there and run update whatever, and I don't have to manually go and copy and paste the damn thing anymore, which is what I used to do. Now I could have written the script, obviously, to do that before, but it was smart enough to go like, oh, this script is probably a reusable script. Here's the way to go. I'll go ahead and just write that, and then I can run it. So, like, if you haven't played with Cursor, you probably should. Like, it's
Would I need
pretty
dual
insane.
monitors to actually use it?
No, it's like a Visual Studio Code. It's Visual Studio Code. It's with, so VS Code, you've got your like one window over here, you got your code window.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they put another window over here, which has agents attached to it, and so then you can be like, okay, create me a Visual Studio project, console project using this version of .NET, and then seed it with this basics, endpoint or something. And it'll do step by step, boom, 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 and then it shows you the diffs of every file that it creates, so that you can go out and manually accept all the diffs and be like, oh yeah, you did good here, or no, you need to make this a change to this file. It's.
Did you get back to running?
No, not yet. I don't know. My foot's still sore from. I was hoping that it would heal up. I don't think it's going to. I'm gonna have to just deal with it.
That sucks. I haven't ran, I think, in like 2 years.
Yeah, I keep thinking like, oh, I'll get going on that again here, and try to just focus on 5 and 10Ks this year. But I just haven't had any sort of, between ice fishing every weekend and now like, the trip, and now this trying to work on this book, like it's gone to the back burner or something. And then my foot is an excuse, I suppose. So it's gone to the back burner. So I don't know. So I need to get something firm in place for doing some sort of book. I really think I might want to take either the episodic approach where you do a series of them, so I could work on just a small chunk at a time and actually deliver that, or just look at trying to do a different type of book to start, one that's more, doesn't require the crafting of a novel, but maybe like, I don't know, the activity books or coloring books like are common. They're saturated, but there's got to be still good market out there for good quality ones. So I feel like that might be more approachable. But the
I don't know. How do you, when you write a fantasy book, how do you compete against everybody else doing fantasy books?
It's just uniqueness of story and stuff. But there's a lot of people who read out there. They just read serially, and they'll just read a lot of stuff. And if you can get a good one out there and they're intrigued by your stuff, they'll read everything that you ever do after that, and they'll tell their friends about it. But yeah, that's the thing, is like every novel, if you look at the cost threshold over time, like I think the payout potential is better, but the amount of time it takes to iterate and get traction going is so long that I feel like if I could. Do you ever watch like or listen to the it was Startups for the Rest of Us, I think was the thing. They talk about the stair-step approach for entrepreneurship. Like start with a static product, like a WordPress plugin or something like that. And then once you've got that in place, then move on to this class of product. And then once you've got that in place, move on to this class of product. And then eventually you're primed to do like a SaaS or something like that.
No, they discourage Big Bang.
Well, it's more like start with smaller products so that you can build up your, like, all of the stuff that needs to go around it. Stair stepping your way to SaaS. Let me see. They used to have like I swear to God, they used to have like graphic for this. Maybe if I just look at images, it'll come up. Maybe it's this one. It's predictable organic marketing channel, blah, blah, blah. You do like a ebook or a course or a WordPress plugin. Then you do it. Oh yeah, that's what you do. So you do these one-off like things like creating ebooks or Shopify add-ons or, you know, product extensions or whatever. Then you keep doing that until you own your own time. And then you do diverse things. And then once you own your own time, then you devote that time towards working on SaaS products, which won't be SaaS products anymore, I don't think. MCP servers will be what you use. You're gonna end up
Model context protocol.
Yeah, so you'll end up bringing up like a chat window, and which has a broad capability in it, and you'll just talk to AI, you'll give AI access to your data or to whatever data you collect and insert, and then it'll just feed crap into it and pull crap out of it. So, and that's how we'll interface. You won't make UIs anymore. It'll all be backends.
There's a tech conference going on here in South Beach. It was, I don't know what it's called, Emerging America or something like that. I stopped by yesterday evening. It was jam-packed with people. But, all right, I guess I should get ready for work. I hate my job. I don't like my job. You know, yeah. I used to work at an ice cream factory, and I used to have to get drunk to go to work.
Really? I don't know if I've worked from home and before, and I've you know, like on a Friday afternoon, I've been like, I don't want to work blitzed, or I'll do it after work, but I don't know that I ever went to work anywhere.
I used to have to get drunk. We used to, on our lunch break, go to the gas station, buy 40 ounces, and then come back to work, and then work in a warehouse driving motorized pallets, and throwing ice cream half gallons on the pallets. Like all this while I used to work night shift at an ice cream factory, and then go to community college during the daytime for mainframe programming. It was, man, I don't know how I did it.
Yeah, I would take I used to take 2 or 3 double shots of vodka before going out, and because I hated shoveling snow, so I'd go out because I did it by hand at the time, and so I'd just be like, I'm gonna get sloshed and just go out, and then I'll shovel the snow, I'll throw on some music and just go out there and just kind of, you know, get through it.
Well, this is a workout.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe the vodka shots counteract the benefit, but it made it more entertaining and easier to get through doing it. That was for sure.
Well, you have a son now, so pretty soon you could just send him outside to do it.
True, although I have a snowblower too, so it goes a lot faster now.
Oh, okay.
But actually, it used to be a thing where people were allowed to drink and go back to work. So there's a special kind of beer called a session beer. Basically, the rule was you just can't get, you know, so wasted you can't do your job. And so they invented session beers, which were lower ABV, you know, lower alcohol beers that people could have in a session between work sessions. So people would go out and have session beers, then go back to work, and then come, you know, get session beers and go back to work, kind of a deal. So that was before people got all stupid about it.
Yeah, it's soft. All right, I'm gonna try to just. I don't want to work. Oh God, you just the anxiety going through me. I'm like,
that was my entire week, dude, too. But yeah, I can sense you're pretty. Yeah, I don't like it either. I don't know why. since I got back from my vacation. Prior to that, I wasn't feeling too bad, but since then I'm like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. I just don't.
Because
I just want to. I want to
I
not
don't
do
see
this at
anything to
all.
look forward to. Like, I don't think I'm making any progress. All I do is put out fires.
Yeah.
I see no reward at the end. It's just fire. Oh, you're done with that, Scott? All right. Fire. Oh, good job, Scott. Another fire. And it's like there's no like build up of any type of like I did this. No, it's just random. They're not even related, man. Well, some of them do because every time I fix it, somehow it breaks again. But they don't want to include my integration test in the solution. Don't ask me why. So things just keep breaking over. I fucking hate my job, dude.
Yeah, that's why AI will eventually just replace us all. Because you won't have to deal with other people's like crap when coding. That's actually the main what's going to be a lot of the time saving, I think, is that you're just going to have AI produce something consistent by its own rules. And you're not going to care what rules it comes up with. You're not going to sit there and, well, I don't believe that integration tests belong into the solution because blah, 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 blah. And, oh, well, I only do like every test needs to have 100% code coverage and blah, blah, blah. And then you got everyone in between. Like, there's just so much to it that we waste time just trying to together figure out how we write code together. Like, I want to use this framework. Well, I don't want to use that framework. I want to use this, or I don't like how this works, or I like how this works.
Was AI intelligent enough to write useful integration tests?
Yeah, actually, that's what a lot of people have it right. I think the thing is as long as you have a pattern that you've established that you're like, this is how you can write a test, it does a pretty good job. I mean, it'll get you, I think on every bit of code, it'll get you 80% there. Like, and then all you have to do is just run and do some checks and verify, and you're good. Like you have to write the test code, then you go and maybe make a couple tweaks and verify, yep, this is what I want it to test, and then it can go out and write the code behind that test too for you. As long as you give it, as long as you're not either not picky about the way that it does it.
Oh, you're doing TDD with AI.
Yeah, you could do that for sure. People do that. It creates an immediate feedback loop too, because so if you have smaller projects that you can actually build and run your tests fast, like AI can take feedback from the tests itself and then go back and fix those problems. Like it'll follow the thread through and go, oh, okay, I see why this broke. And then it'll try it again and it'll try it again until it gets it right. So it's basically the same iteration as somebody goes sitting there going, when you get with agents, it's the same iteration as somebody's going there, having a write code, getting the error, copying and pasting the error back into thing and saying, can you fix this? And then ChatGPT is like, oh, here you go. Here's a new one. Except it does all that by itself. I said, you should try Cursor, dude. It's not the greatest code editor, but it's
so that's your
pretty good at
now?
the AI stuff.
That's your default IDE now?
Well, if I'm going to use AI, I would use for something. So what I've come to do is I go into Cursor and I'll use their agentic AI to do a bunch of work. Then I'll go into VS Code, review all the work and clean it up, and then I'll run it from there. So basically, the pattern I'm trying to get to now is that I have it write 80% of the actual like code for me, and then I just literally run tests and clean up things to the point where it's polished, and then I pass it along. So I don't have to sit there and create the file, create the, type out the namespace, type out the class name or whatever, type out all that. It's like, no, just go make this for me. But I give it pretty detailed instructions, but it's way less time than it would take to actually go in and create the files individually. And
I wonder what the side effects are for new developers in the industry. If they're using AI, I wonder if they really understand the fundamentals.
No. So there's and that's the thing. There's still need for people who understand the why behind stuff and what things to think about. Because it's not just like, you know, coding is not just the code. It's like, well, how do I do what is the security going to look like, you know? And code's like, I'm guessing it's not going to generate code that would have like SQL injections, but you need someone there to verify it, you know, that kind of stuff. So,
All right, I gotta take off.
yeah.
It's been real. Thanks, John.
Yep. See you. Bye.
See you. Bye, Gambler.